pattern I'm going to be tying is a blue-winged olive. Now there's the blue-winged olive there itself. It's named because of the wing more than anything, because it's a blue or a blue coloured wing. It's a very bluey grey, and then this deep or dark green for the body. You see a very small fly, but see when these come off, the fish really love them. So now for the first fly, I'm just going to tie a spider pattern. But what I'm going to use, instead of using a cock hackle, I'm going to use a hen hackle. Now this here is a hen neck. This one is a Met's hen grade 2 in dun. And I just bought it for the colour because I knew it would be ideal for like the blue winged olive or any small grey winged dun that comes off our hatches. I'm going to use these hackles here to float the fly. It'll give you an idea. Here's one of the patterns. There's a small hackle dry if I just hold it by the tail. And there we are. Now I have a few variants of it. Now I've used the same hen fibre in the tail, which you can do. It gives it a very soft presentation. But in the tail of this one I'm going to use some grey coq de Leon. This is a speckled basic coq de Leon. It's a very shiny, very nice fibre and holds well in the water. So now the hook I'm using, this is a Partridge hook. It's a Barbless DryFly hook and it's a size 20. Thread I'm going to be using is an olive Veevus thread in 16/0. Then simply start at the eye of the hook, just put down a layer of thread all the way along to this point here, and then I'm going to take 2 to 3 fibres off. I usually like to take 3 or so off, and then tail length, watch the length of the hook, don't go too long. Come in, do a single turn on top, but onto the bare hook because I'm winding down still. Come underneath, bring the thread underneath and pull, keeping it tight. And then you can separate these fibres. Now, you could figure eight through them if you want. You can see it's sitting nice anyway. And then remove the waste. For the body, I'm just going to use this is basically blue winged olive. This is this green you're looking for. Turkey Biot. Just to show you can tie a fly this small without using them. So, but what you're looking for is the thin biots. When you buy a packet of the biots, you'll have a kind of a mix of different sort of pieces, and just look through them. You should find a thin piece, and this is quite thin. Now there's a fine fibre on one side and none on the other. Now the fine fibre I can see is on the top here, and that's where I want it. Just catch that with the point, as close to the point as you can dare go. Now I have waxed the thread, but just make sure you've got a wee bit of wax down. And then wind up. And stop it round about, say, 2/3 of the way up. To protect the turkey biot, just going to put a tiny bit of super glue on the shank. This will help hold it. And then, as you bring this round, the fine fibre should be at the back, and the leading edge should be the edge without the fibre on it. Nice and close turns form a nice body. You may come up slightly further than you would think, but don't worry because you can go back down. Once you're up, then you can come down a wee bit just to give you the area for tying in the hackle. And trim away the waste. Get one of your hen hackles. Now, you can have it quite short, long. I like to basically put a full hackle on, and if the fish have been really fussy, I just trim away underneath to get it to sit flatter, but I'd always have it whole first before I'd done that. Just tie it in like a normal cock hackle. Just trim away some of the stem. So you wax your thread at this point. Come in, nice and tight. Put down a nice layer of thread for your hackle. I'm going to use a fine pair of hackle pliers. And using the natural curve of the feather, the inside of the feather is facing forward or towards the eye. and then just wind up. As I say, you can exaggerate a wee bit, because you can always, beside the river, take some of the dressing off if you feel the fish are a wee bit more fussier. Yeah, I'm just going to go back because I'm not that happy with the way that's sitting, so always go back if you're not happy. Just take it down, just want to straighten up at the back. Maybe that's better. Sitting a wee bit squarer. Gives me a wee bit better room at the eye. Come across your thread. I always like to put in 3 or 4 turns to catch it. Just hold the tip of the hackle. Come in and trim away the waste. A wee bit more wax. Anything going forward of the eye, I just like to draw it back, come in with the thread turn or 2 up the head area, and then whip finish back down. And there we are. This is the wee spider version. And then trim away. If I were going forward, just bring it up. As I say, that's just the normal or basic dressing. And then when you're fishing, you can either use or just bring the fibres up your fingers when you put your floating on, just to give it like a middle shed or so, or you can trim it away just to form a small space so that it sits flat on the water. But I'd always keep it whole first, because there's times I'm quite happy to take it like that. Then we'll get another hook and I'll do a small compara done. That's the same type of pattern, but I'll show you a different style. I'll tie an F-fly as well, which is again much the same, but I'll give you 3 dressings to have in your box, 3 styles. Using the same hook, it's a Partridge, it's a Barbless hook, size 20. Again, I'm using the Veevus thread in olive. Start the thread at the eye, and come down about halfway, and then break off the thread, or the waste piece, and come back up just about halfway from that point that you tied in, and then get a coastal deer here. This is a very fine one, it's nice. Now you're looking for nice short black tips if you can find them. Cut it away from the skin, and then I'm going to stack it. Just remove the fine fluff at the bottom. You find an under fur, you want to remove that. And into your stacker. Tips first. And tap it on your desk and line them up. And there we go. It's ready to go. It does pay if you take them out the way you're going to tie them in. So take them out that way. So on the right fingers. And then looking for the length of at least the length of the shank forward of the eye. Let's give them a couple of turns and then tighten up. And then I just work my way down, and then you can break these off. Just keep the thread tight when you do that. That's fine. And then carry on down towards, just before you get around the bend. For the tail, I'm going to use the Coq de Leon again. You add 3 or 4. One at the length of the hook, just put that into your finger and thumb. Again, offer it to the top and onto the bare hook. That turns onto a bare hook. Bring the thread underneath the fibres and then lift. Tie it in. Now what I'm going to use for this fly, I'm just going to use a dubbin. So if you haven't got turkey bites, you can use a fine dubbin. And the one I use here is, this is like a Finese, nice olive, very sparse, so you don't want too much on. Now you could use wax to help or hold it on. I don't. I like, if you put wax on there, then it'll not slide. So just keep it nice and tight. Even if you tin it up like a ball, you can always catch it with a turn, meaning like when I go like this, come round, so another turn, half turn anyway, you can catch this in, and you only want tiny drop, you don't want a lot. Take it up and offer it to the shank of the hook. You keep going, just a wee quick look at the body, that's fine. It's important to try and keep it thin. And then you could change the colour of your dubbing at this point, but I just carry on. And all you do is you lift some of the fibres and you come through with the dubbing, working your way up, spreading your deer hair, your coastal deer hair. Now what I'm going to do here is get a tiny bit more and just finish off with the head. Has a very distinct taper. You can, in this fly, it really does taper well. Once you're happy, a wee bit of wax on my thread, and then whip finish. It's a small robust fly, this takes a bit of abuse. You can get quite a few fish before it starts to go. And there we are. You can see you get nice and light, no overdressed. You can actually come in and trim some of the dubbing to make it a wee bit flatter if you want. And that's our second pattern. It's a small compara done. And then finally I'll tie the small CDC version, the small F fly. Again, it's very simple. You could use any of the bodies there. You could use just bare thread. It's entirely up to yourself, but what I'll do is I'll just a small dub body. Again, I'm using the same thread. Just give it a wax through it, get it started. Start at the eye. And work my way down. Tying the tail. Again, the tail is a cotyledon, or it could be whatever you've got. Nice grey or light grey fibre are done. There's the length of your hook for the tail. Catch it onto the bare hook, turn underneath, and lift these fibres and lock them down with a turn on top. Trim away. Now I'll just use another Biot so you can actually see what it looks like, if I can find it. It's on the floor, as everything falls on the floor. Now I've got one of the Biots here. Turkey Biot, this is the really nice colour. The two Biots, the best Biots that I've bought come from a company called Wopsy and another one, Orvis. They're the two best. Now, catch it in by the tip. Take this point here, it's about maybe 2/3 of the way up. Again, I'm going to protect it. Just put a tiny bit of super glue onto the shank. Make sure that fibre, the leading edge is the edge without the fibre on it. And then you can build up a nice wee body. Just work it up. And another one. Cross your thread, tighten up. Trim away the waste. A wee bit of wax on my thread. And then ready for my wing. Now you're looking for the small feathers. Small CDC feathers, or the puffs, some would say, the small puffs. Now for a fly this size, it's worth putting 2 and 3 on, because you can always cut one off when you're on the water side. You can't add anything on, so I'm going to put 3 on. Just line up, just get them together, pull the fibres in. Get the length you want. Again, the thread's waxed. Just come in with a turn on top, keeping the wing to the back. So we quick check. We can watch the length. The wing should be around about the length of the shank or the hook. Trim away the waste. Now the stems of the CDC can be quite thick, so it's important that you wax your thread and get that tied in nice and tight. Bring the thread back up to the wing. Then I'm going to get some of my dubbing. Same as the Finese. And onto the thread. And then I'm going to slightly lift the wing by pulling the wing towards the eye and put some dubbing at the back. Go in with another turn. Stretch out a wee bit. Just lift any fibres just in case you catch them. See a couple of turns in front. Just be sparse with it, don't put too much on. Just throw any fibres that's going forward with the eye, just draw it back and then lock them back with a turn of thread. A wee bit of wax onto my thread. And sometimes if you put too much on, you can just rub it with your finger. And then come in and hot finish. If you want to put a tiny bit of varnish in that, then do that. There you are, and that's 3 really nice or good dressings that I would certainly recommend. See, very simple. As I say, you can come in and if you feel that's just a tad too heavy, you can always trim it, take it back. As I say, you can't add it on when you're on the water, you can only take it off. So, and again, if you feel there's much fibres at the bottom, you can trim them flat.